This is the Business Owners IT Podcast with Anthony Garish and Ryan Carter, where tomorrow's technology meets today's conversations.
Hi, I'm Tony Garish.
And I'm Ryan Carter, and this is the Business Owners IT Podcast.
A podcast where we discuss tips, tricks, and solutions for business owners involving all things tech.
Open Relay, it's an old one, but a good one. There's a new attack vector that people are using for Office 365. It's called Direct Send. Tony, I think you got some points on this that are going to hit home, and then we can kind of maybe show a little bit about it.
Sure. So this direct send thing is a new exploit or new vulnerability or whatever you want to call it, right? The first time it was reported was on June 27th, 2025. So somebody, must have been testing and started the exploit.
Yeah.
What makes it malicious is actors can send spoofed emails as a internal user. So with the direct send vulnerability, I could send something, from Ryan Carter or as Ryan Carter to other people inside of the organization without authenticating. So what's the scary part is even if you had a filter like a Barracuda on front, right, or whatever, it was bypassing all your filtering because it was directly talking to Microsoft Exchange Online.
Yeah, so remember, too, this is a Microsoft issue.
Yeah, it's a Microsoft issue, right? So Microsoft was allowing people to send email through their SMTP, which is Simple Mail Transfer Protocol server, right, to internal people. It's kind of an old thing. I mean, and back in the day when we used to set up Exchange server, the first thing you tested was Open Relay.
Mm-hmm. Or else you got beat.
Yeah, so, before, early days of email, Open Relay was, hey, this guy has an email server, he has an Open Relay. We can just send email off his email server to anybody, and people weren't testing for it.
Oh, I'll take it back in the day, 2009, 2010, when I first started getting my feet wet in IT. I was trying to figure out a way to do something with a multifunction device, and I ended up just putting an Open Relay on the internet, and it was within minutes we got pounded.
Yeah.
I mean, our email was blacklisted.
Yeah. In fact, now I'm showing my age. You can actually use IIS, which comes now on every Windows 10 computer. You can set up an SMTP server in IIS and relay email.
Mm-hmm.
It's very simple. It's not very secure. But, the problem is that this got exploited, was unknown, and, we had to really fast go through all of our clients and close this down.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, one of the problems was that we had our connector set up for our spam filters, right?
Yeah.
And then we didn't lock it down to only allow emails from that spam filter. We still allowed emails from 365. So the attackers just were able to pretend they're Tony and then send to Tony from Tony or to Ryan from Tony using this attack. And that's what it did.
Yeah. And it's very successful. I mean, I've had a few calls with people just recently that have this happening, and some of their IT folks out there don't know how to shut it down. They probably don't even know what's happening.
Yeah, so for you business owners, I'll take you quickly kind of through what is happening. So one of the easiest ways to explain it is you just got a new printer, a multifunction scanner at the office, right? And your people want to scan from that scanner to email, okay? Microsoft actually sets up 3 ways that you're able to do this. The first one is that you use an authenticated account. So you use an account that's paid for, like mine, Ryan Carter at Unique, whatever it is, and then my password. So you can set that up in the device.
Before you move on, older computers older copy machines, scanners don't have that functionality to put in the username and password by an individual.
Right. So then you don't have that functionality. So here's your next step, is that you can use the direct send method. Now, direct send was set up by Microsoft to be able to send internally only. Okay. With the direct send, it was just an internal only. So now you have that problem of what if I want to send outside of my my company? So then the next thing is that you could set up an SMTP relay. Microsoft did get smart, and you have to use what's called TLS version 2 for it now. So a lot of older printers won't be able to do it, or scanners. And then the other thing too is that you had to allow it from an authenticated IP address. So that was always up and running and good from there. The problem with the direct send vulnerability is that, actually, John, if you pull up my screen, I'm going to go to another thing here. you're there. So this one I stole from another person because they put it together in a good chart, the lazy admin. And it just shows that with direct send, you can send to internal recipients, but you can't send to external. But it can support externally hosted applications. And this is where it really nails down, is that once they have your on Microsoft address, someone from anywhere in the world can send an email to inside your company posing as you. That is the biggest problem. And then you could just do it over SMTP, like you said, port 25. So that's the big thing I want to talk about on the screen. Maybe, Tony, could you take us through maybe what do you think for protections from this type of attack?
Well, I think that's first of all, you have to make sure like the email that the extra, Microsoft has to fix it too, but they have a fix for it, right? So I think the thing is that it's, this was a hard attack because it wasn't going through our filter. So, but we were journaling, right? So we had journaling on so we could actually see these emails that were using the direct send. Microsoft has to close it down.
Yeah, and they actually are. If you pull up my screen, John. So this is the original. I tried to find the original one. Like I usually copy down things from the internet and put it into our documentation system just so I have it if they change it. This one I couldn't find. This document from Microsoft on how to send from a multifunction device has changed like 4,000 times. But this is a note that they put on. I don't know when they did, but I just noticed it recently as I was looking at this attack. Most customers don't need to use direct send. We're working on an option to disable direct send by default. They actually put it in that you could disable direct send, but they didn't make it by default. So you could always just turn it off. Now, if you turn off direct send, you're not going to be able to send from your multifunction devices. Your outside email spam filters, like if you're using like a Proofpoint or a Barracuda or anybody like that, it won't be able to send unless you allow the IPs in. So there's certain protections you can put in, but this will be by default, probably sooner than later, disabled because it's knocking them down. And if you saw our previous episode about the QR codes, this one here, I've had one that came from the HR director. It was actually from the HR director to the HR director and BCC'd the whole company. And half the people probably scanned that QR code. And before the first couple got locked down, and then after that, we were able to disable it quickly.
Yeah, and it's this is another one of those exploits that happened, right? It just happened, and it's like all of a sudden there's a huge attack, and you have to be able to respond. It's kind of weird that I guess it happened just before the 4th of July, if it was in June there or whatever, 27th. But it's you have to read those emails. I just can't tell you enough how much you have to read your emails and make sure that they make sense. Mm-hmm. And like, would the HR director be sending that, or that was a lot of work to clean that up quick.
Yeah. And that's how it is sometimes in IT, is that a vulnerability comes out and we just gotta. It's not sometimes a click of a button to fix it. And that's one thing you business owners need to know, is that it takes some time sometimes to clean these things up, especially when they're deeply embedded into what you're already doing.
And another thing too is I've always been against sending emails from
there it is. I was multifunction.
Yeah, from multifunction hardware for a couple of reasons. First of all, there's like no record of it, right? Like when you do that from a copy machine, it doesn't go into your outbox or your sent items. It just goes out to them and it's gone. So as a company, you have no record of that email ever being sent. Now, we use journaling with Barracuda, right? The archiving. So we would be able to see that email going out if we looked at it forensically, saying, the copy machine sent out 5,000 emails. The other thing, too, with multifunction machines is if you're hacked, that's the first thing the hacker goes after, right? Is those passwords stored in those multifunction machines. If I'm going to hack you, I'm going after the copy machine. That's the first thing, right? So, I'm just always been against, sending out emails, that can't be read by anybody. And, early on in as email was being adopted more and more and more and more, business owners didn't understand the importance of being able to see what people are actually emailing out.
Yeah, and the tried and true is what Tony always sets up, is you just scan it to a folder on your network.
Yeah, scan it to a folder and then send it.
Yep.
Why do you have to send it directly out of a copy machine? or a multifunction machine. It just
You never know if it got there.
right.
So
Yeah, that's another thing too. You never know if it got there, right? You don't know. You don't have a record of it. You may or may not get the bounce back. It just depends what the from email address is.
yep.
Yeah. So yeah, and if you're having a problem with direct send, obviously you guys can contact us. We'll help you. It's still being exploited. It's still not closed down. I've took a couple calls from, friends that have people that say, hey, we're a small company and it appears that people are sending emails as us.
Yep, exactly. So I guess that leads me to tip of the week is that if you're using Microsoft 365, you may want to get with your IT person or your IT provider to make sure that you are not vulnerable against this attack. And if they need help, like Tony said, or if you guys want some help with it, just drop a comment or get a hold of us however you want. Our socials, everything's out there for you to get a hold of us. So we're always here to help.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the other thing that you guys got to look at in your 365 are those things called app passwords. So there's a lot of, we've seen some clients with a whole bunch of app passwords and not sure why they have them, but it sounds like somebody might have been in there again.
Actually, app passwords was a way to do scanned email.
Scanned email, right?
Yeah, so yeah, don't work so much anymore.
Yeah, so that's another thing. So, all right, I guess we kind of killed this open relay, but that's the direct send method, or that's the vulnerabilities is basically an open relay. If you need details, you can always search, Google open relay, direct send. There's a lot of documentation out there about it.
Yeah, take us home.
All right, that's all we have. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you have any comments or remarks, you can certainly leave them in the comment section of the thing, and we hope you can join us next week.
Where we see you next week, where we will not talk about email, but free VPNs.
Oh, free VPNs.
Free the VPN.
Unique computing solutions. Your IT challenges solved.